All right, everyone, it's political strategy analysis time. We cannot allow Kamala Harris to parse herself from the Biden administration. I realize that she's been copying a lot of Trump's homework. Haha, in today's live stream, we'll be talking about her copying the notes on pot, actually. This is like, what, the fourth, fifth time that she's done something like this? It's actually surreal when you come to think of it again. It is a Clintonian strategy. It's a combination of the Biden strategy of hiding from the media and from the people and being in public as little as possible to keep the Kasich effect going, plus stealing, your opponent's homework and then vaguely elaborating on it and trying to claim it as your own. But Kamala Harris can't be parsed from the Biden administration. She's been the VP this entire time, so that's one point. Any mistake that Biden made, she generally would have been aware of before he made it. She would have been in consultation with him regularly. This is what a vice president does. While the vice presidency is mostly the role of casting the deciding Senate tie-breaking vote and simply going to a few meetings and waiting in the wings in case something happens to the president, she would still have been aware of the policies. She would have been briefed on them. She would have been part of the decision-making process. Although I do admit one thing. Because of Jill Biden, who clearly fucking hates Kamala, I have a feeling that Kamala was less involved with the administration than many VPs would have been. The same is actually true of the Trump administration with Pence. I think that he can get along with Vance. I think that Vance will be sort of keyed in an administration under Trump with what's going on. Pence was sort of kept in the background. And then, of course, you have Biden and Obama. Biden was definitely, generally speaking, fairly closely tied to Obama. They seem to have gotten along on a friendly level. With Bush and Cheney, it's hard to tell. Cheney was sort of like the Darth Vader, where George W.'s Palpatine. He's the one's controlling things behind closed doors, but nobody knows he's evil. Like when he's in the Galactic Senate and then whatever. I don't know about that. With Herbert Walker, I can't even remember who his vice president was. Wasn't it that dude that couldn't spell potato? I can't remember his name. I think he's still alive, which is hilarious, actually. But Kamala Harris was a significant part of the Biden administration's decision-making process. Advice would be given, discussions would be had, consultations, intel would have been given to Kamala as well. And so when we look at the inflation rate and we look at the border, she was literally border czar. That is true. The left can claim otherwise all they want, but that was the moniker that was literally coined at the time by the captive legacy media. Unofficial title, maybe so. Still involved with the border crisis. When we look at crime, when we look at diplomacy, the vice president takes a role in diplomacy as well. The vice president flies around the world and goes and meets with dignitaries and stuff like that also. She was down there, where was she, in Honduras or some shit like that, and she was like, don't come. Don't worry, nobody's coming around you. It's not going to happen. And that's the truth. She was tied to the administration at the hip. It's like looking at, twins. They're joined at the hip. They can't be surgically removed from one another because they'll die. That's basically Biden and Kamala. So the strategy is to make it clear to people. Biden was less well rated than Kamala is now. Again, partially because of that Kasich effect that she's trying to keep going till the election so that people don't even know anything about her. Make sure to remind them, look, she was the second in command of the administration. Did you like Biden's policies? Because by and large, they're the same policies that Kamala Harris is fronting. The economic policy is effectively identical. The border policy is effectively identical. She can claim otherwise, but she's been VP this whole time. She could have come out and pushed for these policy changes that she now says that she supports but clearly doesn't. She could have done that at any time. She's literally in office right now. But she's too busy sitting in the basement masturbating to actually address the policies at all on a normal day. She's not really campaigning that much. But she's flush with money. Oh, as far as money goes, the fundraising haul, did you see the news earlier today, actually? She tripled the amount of donations that she took in than Trump took in. And I was thinking, well, where did those donations come from? It's because, unlike Biden, she actually has like a moonshot chance in hell of winning the election. They're hedging their bets. They're probably also funding Trump to an extent too. But when you have the backing of the big banks and corporatists that are worth billions of dollars, you tend to take in more money than someone whose campaign is much more grassroots, which Trump's is. When most of the donations are under a couple $100, you're going to take in less money than when the average donation is probably like $10 million or something like that. And that's the truth. Kamala doesn't have a lot of that grassroots support. I assume that there are some lefties out there that'll donate their $25 a month or something like that, but beyond that, it's basically big banks and industrialists, shit like that. She's inseparable from the Biden administration. That's the truth. She was part of the administration for years. Never once during the entirety of the administration, and this is an important point, never once did she express any misgivings about any policy that Joe Biden put forth. Never once did she specifically promote a policy while she was in the role of VP. This is very telling. Effectively, she's nothing more than a younger female version of Joe Biden. Plus, the Clinton strategy overlapped onto it with extra id pull. That's the sprinklings on the top. If you had two bagels, basically they're identical except that one has sesame seeds on it. Well, the sesame seeds, that's the id pull. Ta-da! Now you've got Kamala Harris. Okay, maybe the bagel's a little bit more palatable to certain people. I don't mind sesame seeds on my bagel, particularly myself. Probably not the greatest analogy because bagels are actually good. Okay, you've got a dog turd, and you've got an identical dog turd, but you sprinkled that with sesame seeds. Well, now we've got Kamala Harris. That would probably be a little bit more apt. That's about all. Peace out.